We're singing today.
Apparently.
Today's episode is a musical.
Oh, dear. No, today's episode is not a musical. But
Every show needs a musical episode, doesn't it?
Yes.
Maybe our musical episode, though, will be talking about music for your game. Maybe that'll
that'll be our musical.
That'll be our musical episode.
I'm trying to think what pop culture shows have had. Buffy the Vampire Slayer has. Mm-hmm. The Flash has.
Yep.
I
know there are others.
Yep, I know there are others. But Buffy was the one that I loved, so that's one I watched.
So, welcome again, everyone.
Sorry, we got super sidetracked.
Just a little bit.
Okay, you guys, honestly, I struggle with ADD, and today has been a really, really rough day. Really rough day. We're going on vacation in a couple of days, and we've been trying to get ready and working full-time, and doing all of that has been a little difficult. But...
Yeah, as everyone who works knows, if you work and have kids and then try and do anything like this, it's like
impossible.
Life's pretty busy for you.
It is impossible, full on.
So today's episode, we want to talk about a couple of things. One, I want to kind of talk about.
We got new internet.
Yes, we do have new internet.
Sorry, it's not like I'm super excited about that or anything.
We got new internet. We should be coming through you in much clearer video and a lot less choppy video this week, as well as in tomorrow night's actual play. So we are very excited about that.
Yes, we got Utopia Fiber, and it's beautiful. Thank the internet gods. I'm very happy about it. So welcome to new internet, no glitchies.
Which god of Galeria represents the internet?
Yeah, so I'm going to have to think on that one. Is there a god of technology?
There's a Clockworks.
I know, but
human innovation one.
Okay, yeah.
That could work. Okay, I'll have to look at what it is.
I'm gonna go get my book. Oh wait, no, you have the book.
I do. I have a book.
Now I want to know.
I don't know if he's covered in this one.
No, because they only have the main 12 in this one. Ah, sorry, guys, we're a little all over the place tonight.
I know though that it's covered in the Lost Omens.
Yeah, that's true.
Book, and I've got that now pulled up here on my phone because DM can never go anywhere, and I turned right to it. It's
nice.
Okay, I don't even know how to say this one though. Right, B-R-I-G-H.
B-R-I-G-H. Brecht. Hold on.
There's not a T.
Breich. At least if you're from Scotland, it'd be Breich.
If you are a Pathfinder linguist, then you can tell us what it should actually be saying.
Please let us know what it is in IPA, if you know what that is.
So, but yeah, he is the god of intelligence. He is Clockworks, invention, and time. So I imagine he'd be the best one I could think of.
So that works.
Unless
we've gotten so sidetracked.
We have.
Okay, so tonight we are talking about our terrain build. Well, not ours. Weston actually built the terrain for our last episode, episode 9 of the Scions. That's our actual play that we do on Tuesday nights. And this last episode dealt with 2 different levels, a stairwell, and then a very large open combat space that was very interesting because we learned some things about large open combat spaces as GMs and as players, and how it makes it kind of difficult to do interesting things if you don't have anything in the combat space. Kind
of some issues and some realizations of maybe some better ways and some things to think about when you're doing combat.
Yeah.
Because if you aren't careful, combat can become kind of boring.
Yeah, it can. It's like, okay, I'm going to hit, especially if you're a fighter or a barbarian or one of those more muscly characters or builds.
Well, and then it depends on, what warrior build you do. I mean, warrior fighter build you do. But sometimes you're going for a pure damage melee. Mm-hmm. And in that case, you might be like, oh, I feel like my combat's a little simplistic. I run up, I rage, I run up, I hit. I hit, I hit again. And then after that, you know what I'm going to do?
I'm going to hit somebody.
I'm going to hit some stuff.
I'm going to go hit some things.
So all that we're going to be talking about with our tonight's episode of Tabletop Terrain Talks.
Yep. And we're also building tonight. What are we building tonight?
What are you building tonight?
I am finishing out my Tavern build. Yep. And we use a system called Terreno. It's by Game Master, or Game Gear Master, or Game Master?
No, Game Gear.
GameGearMaster.com. We have used his stuff pretty much since we started doing Pathfinder because we couldn't afford to buy the really, really nice module systems. So we found him, and his product is absolutely incredible, and we can make and do whatever we want within the system that he created, and it's been really, really helpful. We have exchanged money for time, so we take the time to make this instead of spending the money. So yeah, so that's what I'm working on today. So I have some pieces I'm painting and whatnot. So you'll see on the battle cam, or not battle cam, the craft cam below us is you can see what we're doing with our hands and stuff, and we'll stop and explain it as we move along. But Weston, let's turn it over to you, and you can talk about your beautiful build that's over there. If you can get off of your phone.
Yeah, I'm just trying. I'm posting to some people and letting them know. Jeez.
Don't wear hair. Don't wear doing stuff. We're doing stuff.
But yeah, give me 1 second, and I will pull out this big log terrain. Just here. Go ahead and type that.
Do you want me to finish that?
Yeah, finish that for me. We're gonna have to move some stuff though, because this is not small.
Oh no, it's not. Move all of my templates. So hope you guys all had a good weekend. We did. We went on a what?
Discord.
I'm working on it.
I just sat on top of my keyboard.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so let's see if we can see it. Nope, gotta move it in. You gotta get in the camera.
Where's the camera? There's the camera. Oh, jeez. Sorry.
There we go. There we got our terrain. And actually, I'm gonna switch a view a little bit.
Okay.
That should give people a much better view of the terrain that we're working with. Woohoo! Look at all that.
Look at how beautiful that is.
So in our last game, we had some combat. We're going down the stairs of the Citadel in Farak for the Hell Knights. And so I was like, okay, we're going down to the science, what is the science division, which you come down the stairs, it's all closed off, there's doors there and a desk that beforehand had a psychic monster that would read your minds and see if you're supposed to be there. Mm-hmm. This time there was a clockwork, soul-bound machine that you had to do that you had to do combat with. And so I was like, all right, so I want it to be where we're coming down the stairs, because again, it's like you want to have your combat be interesting. You don't want boring combat. It's like, okay, how can I make this more than a flat space? Mm-hmm. In this case, my thought was, well, if I make it to where you can run up or down the stairs, there's another dimension.
Yeah.
There is the option to be like, okay, I'm on the main level, the monster is coming to attack me, I'm going to run up the stairs. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to provide for that option. So this is what I ended up building. So up here, this is one of the floors. That's the main science floor. That's where we had our monster. That's where we had our characters at. Oh, here we go.
Yep. We had the big bad.
Right over there.
Was there. You can hardly see it though. Can you hardly see it? He's right here.
He's right there.
He's right here. Can't see him very well.
Well, and this is another thing to think about, and this is one thing that I'm wondering with the terrain.
We have like super monochromatic coloring.
Well, it's not necessarily monochromatic when you see it with your regular eyes, but it doesn't pop out a lot when you've got a dungeon that's all stone.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate your colors?
I don't know.
How do you separate your floor from your walls?
Yeah.
And that's something to think about as you're painting. Is, do I want something different?
Well, and show the other walls that you have, because it's the two-toned, the like yellowy,
wooden ones?
Yeah, the wooden ones, because that one, these are a little bit, they're like the same family group, but there are definitely two different colors, and it's much easier to differentiate things when you're when we've built taverns in the past.
Yeah. Well, but even these ones, I mean, you actually look at the walls. They've got these multitude of colors in them versus the ground, but it's the ground. It is the ground as this color, and I really question if it wouldn't be wiser to look at a lighter color.
Yeah. Well, and this is one of the first ones we built, wasn't it? Or you built?
That was my very first one that I built.
Yeah. So it's like very straight colored. There's no dimension to it really at all.
But so far I haven't played too much with the colors on the actual ground.
Yeah, we haven't done that.
But that's something to really, as I've built more of this, especially as we're trying to do it on camera, it has been a realization of, okay, if you got a slate gray bottom, you have to find some way to differentiate. Because, like, look at these guys. So, right here, okay, you can see it on my little screen. Okay, I got some little demons, some little demon flyers. They're a dark gray. Put them on the train.
They're like black.
Are you even going to be able to see them?
No, you can't see them really at all. It's like this is just right here.
So that's, again, where you have to start thinking...
Ah!
I'll get it. You're gonna break my train. I know. I will get him. You're gonna break my train. But that's the thing, is you got to think about, okay, what color are my monsters? What color, and so like that. And so I really question if almost going for almost a white granite look might not be more advantageous.
A marbly
more
color.
like a marble color.
Yeah.
More advantageous than a gray, because with the gray, you can lose your monsters in it.
Yeah, because a lot of monsters are dark.
They are.
Even if you're trying to paint them a little bit lighter, they're going to be dark because that's just the way that monsters are. Unless you go completely against the grain and you make like an owlbear like bright pink.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like, you could. That is a choice.
You totally could. So that's why it's just, you need to think about your colors. I didn't think about them beforehand in that aspect, so that's something that going back, I would definitely do possibly differently on that.
Yeah.
But also on here, so I wanted to have the two. So you've got one stairwell here, which these stairs, bring them up here.
These are really cool.
All they are is they are these Jenga blocks you can get from the dollar store, Dollar Tree, whatever.
The Dollar Tree.
That then I painted gray, and then all I did was glue on top of them this little piece of foam with a little lip on it, so that way I could actually hook it in to the walls to help pull them all together. So let me see it, show it on this side. See, it pops off there.
And show like how that works with the Terreno modular system.
So yeah, you got your little lip. Everything in Terreno is about having that little, which you can't even see it really. Let me bring it forward. There we go. Having that little lip. I can't turn it right. There we go. There we go.
Put your hand behind it so it's not focusing on your face.
But it likes my face.
Now it's just focusing on. There we go. Okay.
There we go.
We'll practice.
Maybe. But everything's about having that little piece to hook in. So hooks into my wall, which also adding the weight of that helps keep my walls in place.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I did that. Now here on the ground level, I don't have multiple layers of Terreno on top of each other, so I wasn't as worried about pulling together. So I just used a basic.
Yeah. And these are Jenga blocks that you can get from the Dollar Tree. Did we say that already?
Yep.
All right, never mind.
Jenga blocks get from Dollar Tree. I just hot glued them.
Guys, seriously, the ADD, it's hard. It's hard today.
So that's now. How did I get the two-storied look? Because if you look here, there's actually a hole on both these sides where you could walk down. And then below them would be these stairwells.
So you're doing a multi-tiered approach where this is the top level and then this is the
Exactly.
secondary level.
Exactly. So let's pull this all off. What?
Nothing. I just hit my phone.
Okay. Oh. So that's what's underneath. All I did was put a couple of walls there to help hold everything together. And then...
Well, and this also showcases how you can use that to make multi-level structures and buildings and stuff like that,
forward the side people can see it, because they can't see it back here where I'm at. So there was your main floor, and then... There you go, you can see the monster. Wait.
Here we go. It's green. Is it still glitching?
Our stream's glitching. Our internet's not glitching.
It might just be the mobile. Anyway.
Are you there? Can people see us? I hope you can.
I hope so too. Okay, so.
So yeah, that's what we built.
Mm-hmm.
For this. So you can do, these all stick on top of each other.
Yeah, they do.
So let's actually just kind of, you can take all those apart, stack them on top of each other. The one thing I haven't worked with too much, a couple things I would do differently about this. Mm-hmm. If I had the options, if I had more time, this aspect of just putting this on top, I don't like.
Yeah. Well, we can put a little lip thing in it that would fit in like sporadically. We
could. So that's one option, is that you're saying put on the bottom of this piece.
Yeah, like we put along the edges.
Mm-hmm.
Little pieces.
That's one option, because if you do that, actually, when you put it on the down, if you do it evenly on all sides, you can still put it down flat, and it'll just come up a little bit. You won't even barely notice it.
Yeah.
But then when you suddenly put it on top of one of other ones, it'll hook in. I like that. I think that's good.
I think it's really cool. I think that's one of the cool things about this system, and I would like to just let you guys know we are not endorsed by this company and whatnot. We don't have like any stock. They were not getting paid money for this. We really love this system, and it's so cool because you can build all of these pieces and then use them in so many different ways that you build a bunch of walls and then you can throw it together in what organization you want. You can make a maze, you can make a house, you can do whatever you need to. It's very cool.
Which brings me to the kind of the next thing that I built. We also had a huge area that was it was the bottom floor of the Citadel, and it was generally an open space.
Yeah.
Which...
And that was where...
Well, as I was DMing it, realizing, open space like that isn't interesting.
Greatest.
It's not interesting combat. If you just got an open space, it's like, okay, well, I walk up to them and I hit them.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do next? I hit them.
Walk up to them and hit them again.
Well, and in our combat, you think about, we have a fighter, a dual-classed fighter and champion, and dual-classed cleric and sorcerer. Mm-hmm. What if we had a rogue?
What if we had a rogue?
Well, just think about it. They can't hide.
No, they can't.
There's nowhere to hide, nowhere for them
can't
to
do sneak attack.
Get. Yeah, so I mean, they can get sneak attack from flanking.
That's true.
But that's really their only option.
Mm-hmm. They can't really use any of their heavy hitting.
Yeah, you can't use take cover. And so that is something to think about when you're building your combat space.
Mm-hmm. Are you giving your players something to play with?
Yeah.
And that was something new for us because we'd never really done combat in like a large space like that before. So
that was the largest space that I'd done. Yeah. It was hard because the story called for a bit of an open space.
Yeah. And we do a homebrewed campaign, so that's like, if we have problems like that,
I can change them.
Like our fault.
That's our own fault. So that's where I wish I had thought, okay, what more can I put down there to make it interesting? Mm-hmm. What more can I put down there to play with? Mm-hmm. And more so to give your players a chance to interact with. Now, that does depend on if you have players that will do that.
Yeah, because if you have players that aren't going to, like if you don't have any rogues, like we don't have any rogues, but it still would have been nice. Like my character is very much a protector, and so she was trying to get them to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And so she could like fight the bad guys, and they wouldn't leave.
Well, yeah. I mean, if
There
you
was
got
nothing
your
for the halflings to actually hide.
yeah,
behind.
we had 3 little halfling slaves that we were helping escape from the citadel, and they had nowhere to hide, so they just went and stood in the corner.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing
There was
that I,
nowhere
as
for
the
them to
DM,
go.
provided. Again, to make the space interesting to do things on.
Yeah.
So that is one thing to do. Now, as far as the making of the space, they were all made up with. Well, where did I put them? I had them right here. All I did. You want to hold that up to the camera up there so they can get a better idea. So all I did was these are foam. I cut them, kind of made a little jagged. But all you gotta do for Terreno is put that little thing on the bottom. Put the little lip.
And then you're freaking golden.
It's just a tiny little. Put that hand in front thing. Just a tiny little slice of foam from the same foam boards we use for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, let me just put this right here. Suddenly, I can just slide that in. And sometimes you gotta, when making these, you gotta make sure you're accurate. Otherwise, they can get a little too tight.
Yeah, it gets a little bit.
But you can slide. So this is something I've learned: is if you made your Terreno and you're like, oh, I put those squares a little too tight together, you can always just move them back and forth and they'll slide in, which is actually not bad because it holds. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden, my
got it.
wall, that's just side of a cavern, sticks there in my Terreno.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of our terrain stuff we use packing materials.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
like, it's really nice.
What
That's
came in
really
this?
Nice computer.
Yes.
There's a computer in that.
There's a computer in this.
Mm-hmm. And we kept the foam specifically. Like, you're an adult when you keep a box because it's a really good box. Like, why would you get rid of it? It's a really good box.
I'm excited by this box.
I know. I realized I was an adult that first time that ever happened to me.
The last part is actually something I'm very proud of. That was down in this basement, bottom floor, was a Hellgate. And so I built for us.
Not to be confused with Buffy's Hellmouth.
No, definitely not to be confused. But I built us a little Hellgate. So I'm going to get this ready real quick. Got to do a momentary prep on it. Come on. See here, got to bend this back.
So we've been playing with
There you go.
lights and those types of things for our terrain. And how to... Letty, come here, girl. Come here, babies.
A dog is walking down the
Our
stairs.
dog is being funny. She's like... We have a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, and she's the sweetest thing on the planet Earth. But she... Letty, come here. Come here, babies. Come here. But she went outside and ran around today and had a ball thrown for her for a while. And now she's acting like she can't move.
She can't walk.
She can't walk. Letty, come here. She's very much a bull terrier in the fact that she has hip dysplasia, and so we have to be very careful.
All right,
with her.
so
Anyway.
whoa. Dog just stepped on my keyboard and opened my calculator.
Baby, come over here. Hey, come here. Come here. Here we go.
Here, I'm actually gonna switch back to this camera so you can get a better look. But here,
Can they see it though?
yeah, they can't see the light.
I was
Really.
about to say they can't really see the light. The light.
You have to
is the
turn off.
cool
Some, we'd
part.
have to turn
Do you
off
want me
some
to
lights.
Turn off the light? I'll go turn off the light really fast.
All right, so we're gonna turn off the light real quick so you
Turn
can
off
see
the
this.
light real fast. One, two, three.
Three.
Do you want to turn it off again?
Nope, that's good.
Okay.
So in person, you can see it. There's a bit of light behind there. So all this is a small light. Once again, our wonderfulness at the Dollar Tree. You buy one of those little flickering tea lamps tea lights.
Tea lights.
They come with a small little. When you take them apart, you'll have a battery and a small little light, and all you have to do is hold them together.
Yep.
And it'll light up, and you can use that light for pretty much anything. This.
And you can get those like on Amazon too. We were looking, and you can get like big packs of them for
pretty cheap,
like $7.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
For the Hell Gate, all I did was I used the wall template, and then cut out the middle. That's all this is. And then this is again my favorite thing, a falling apart rolling chair mat.
Yep.
That
one of the coolest uses of a DIY I think we've ever done.
Yeah, I mean, all I did, painted a little bit, put the light behind it, and then one thing I did on this is I gave it these accents. So it's hell, so I decided to go with reds on it, and so there are red colored. I did red and obsidian, so black and red, and gray accents throughout the different blocks.
Here, this is better.
Is that one better? There we go. To kind of make the accents match the rest of the gate.
It's very cool.
So that was down at the end, and actually I was pretty excited about the look. It looked pretty dang good, I thought, there.
Yeah,
on the
it looked
thing.
really good. It was really fun when we got to that part in the session and you brought that over. I mean, that was a fun, and that's a cool thing too, is like as a GM, you kind of have these moments that they're like these fun little surprises, and you get really excited, and you're like, this is gonna be so cool. Like, because you created something for your players, and it's funny because Weston and I only play with each other, so we kind of have to be very secretive about it. Not that we don't want to play with other people, we just kind of through the pandemic, we just kind of learned it.
Well, and time makes it difficult. Every once in a while, when we can, we get together with other people, but a lot of time it does end up being just to us.
Just the two of us.
Which, speaking of talking, I've got to go get a drink real quick. So tell them a little bit about what you're building.
Okay. I am, because part of the terrain for taverns is the roofs, I'm actually making shingles right now. So I just used my paper cutter and I cut all of these wonderful pages. They're 1/2 inch thick, and they are going to end up becoming shingles. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. So I have all of my pieces here, and I have marked on here the size that I need for the pages, and I'm realizing it kind of got unmarked. I am a firm believer that if your cutting mat isn't like crazy, you're not crafting right. Other people may not agree with that, but that's kind of how I feel. So you put down one piece of masking tape to start with, and this is going to be your base. So this is going to keep all of the other pieces from the masking tape on all those other pieces from getting like nasty and not sticking when you're making your train. So you're going to take one piece of just a regular, and you're going to put it down, you can just put it down here. Sorry, like I said, it's been kind of a long day. And then you take your masking tape off, and then you're going to stick the piece of paper on the bottom half of the masking tape so that the top of the masking tape is sticking to the other piece that is already down on the ground. So we have, oh frick, this piece was not long enough. Just kidding. Hold on, let's try that again. So I hope you guys had a really fun weekend. We did some family events. We got a trampoline, which was awesome. We have 3 little boys, so they were like all over that. And our dog managed to jump up on the tramp the first day we freaking had it. That was hilarious. All right, so now I'm using those 2 little marks that I have on the cutting mat to get the paper pretty much right where I need it to be as I am putting this down. So you can see the masking tape on top. Oh dear, got a little wrinkle in it. Oh well. But the masking tape on top is sticking to the masking tape underneath, and then we've got the piece of paper that is between them down here on the bottom. So we are gonna do this 10 times. And Jake the creator of Terreno, he suggests not to do it more than 10 because then it starts getting really difficult to cut. And so just stick with 10, and then you'll have 10 lines of roofing or shingles for your stuff, which is really cool. So we repeat this process for all 10 of them. And I used to try to be super duper precise when I was doing this, and honestly, like, it's okay if you're not totally precise on these. On some of the products, yes. Like, hold on, how many did it? 1, 2. I'm gonna count them all out. 3. Just a second. 4, 5. Oh my gosh. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Counting. It's a hard thing.
10. Shush.
Got my.
Well, I put.
I got the thing you made us.
Oh, I made those cups, you guys. I made those cups. Show them the back. What's on the back?
I gotta turn this slow so I don't spill anything.
And then we have a.
It's got the sword, and then it's hard to see, but
there's all the dice. All the dice are there. I made those because I was like, I see those cups at the Dollar Tree literally all the time, and I was like, you know what? We're not drinkers. We don't drink alcohol, but so like we don't need a beer stein. But I loved them, and so I was like, we're gonna get a beer stein.
Who doesn't need something that that cool?
That makes you feel like a king.
Yep.
Anyway, I was just explaining what I was doing with this and creating the shingles.
Oh yes.
So
you made a lot of them.
I made a lot of them last time.
Well,
this one
you're going for 3 different colors. You're going for 3 different colors.
Yeah, I'm creating 3 different sets of roofing. I'm creating red, orange. Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Red, blue, and green. So the primary colors, except for yellow. I might actually do a yellow.
If you made it a bit more of a straw, you can make it like a straw color. Ooh, that'd be really cool, though, is to take this and don't put the shingles on it, but instead we get like a straw-like material from the dollar store and do that along it.
What, like the Spanish moss?
Yeah.
Because we could do the Spanish moss. That would work really well, actually, because it kind of looks like straw.
Yeah, because then you could...
And then around Halloween time, they have little bales of straw for just decoration.
Because then you could make it like that type of thatched roofing.
Like a thatched roof?
You can make a thatched roof.
That'd be really cool.
If you're making a small village instead of a town,
yeah,
you use that for some thatched roofing, and I think that would look really good.
See, and I think like that would look incredible, and then I think how much work that would take. That'd be a lot of work.
Well, why?
Well, you're having to create the thatching. So you create the thatching, and unless you're just like taking globs and gluing it on, if you're wanting to do it in any kind of organized fashion.
You see, I don't think you need to do it too organized. Personally, I'm looking at this stuff.
Yeah, the Spanish moss.
The Spanish moss, and you just do a thin layering of that, and then paint it.
You don't even need to paint that.
No, you paint underneath it.
Oh, okay.
So you paint it first with like a layer of brown.
Yeah.
But with want to do kind of a gray brown. You know what I mean? So you put some to give it a little bit more of this, less of a bright brown. You don't want this underneath it.
No. You'd want kind of a more dusty brown color.
Yeah, like a dusty brown color, and then you just pop that stuff along the tops, and then you've got thatched roofing. If you've got that witch's hut in the forest, or something like that, or the druids, the druid homes, that would look really good.
That would look
in
really
my
cool.
opinion.
I like it. I like that idea. We definitely do that. And like I have an ongoing list in my head of things that I'm going to get at different seasons at the Dollar Tree, because I know they have them at the Dollar Tree at those different seasons, or like at Michael's or wherever. So if you are into building your own terrain, definitely be aware of what is going on with your craft store and what different things you can get.
Yeah.
Michael's recently just started carrying these DIY model doll homes that have all of these really, really adorable doll furniture, chairs, like wall decorations, things like that. And while some of them are actually a little too big for the normal size of miniatures, some of them would work perfectly for just deco and adding flavor and flair to your terrain. So Yeah.
I think it'd be, I mean, the amount of things you've found just while you're looking that have added to our look, I think is
well, it's like
really,
those
really helped.
Skulls, like the little skulls and the gears and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You give me a crafting challenge, and I will find it.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. So we were the other thing we wanted to talk about tonight was we did want to talk about GM and DM resources. But specifically for Pathfinder. What are the resources out there for GMs in Pathfinder?
Yeah.
Because
there's a ton of stuff that's really good for D&D, and then there's not very much out there for Pathfinder, I feel like, that is really like mainstreamed.
It's not commercialized the same way.
Yeah, it's not. It's some of it's open source, some of it's people have been working on it. Some of it is unfreaking real. But the amount of dedication and time and energy that people have put into creating something for Pathfinder, and it's like, how is this not like massive?
But most of it's community. A lot of it's community made.
Yeah,
it's community made resources, and so you've got to be looking in the community to find it. So there's really only one place though that you need to go. There's one place where you need to go if you are a GM and you're wanting to find some more resources to up your game with Pathfinder. There's only one place to go. We're going to go there right now.
Are we taking them to it?
We're going to take them. We're going to take them on a magical trip.
Taking you on a magical journey as I am incapable of apparently doing this. Dang it. I was doing really good, and then I seriously screwed this one up.
So, this is the one place to go. PF2.tools.
Yep.
Because I don't know who made this. I don't know who's done this. I just know thank you.
Yes.
From the bottom of my heart.
This is whoever created this compilation. Freaking amazing.
Because literally what you have is every good tool out there for Pathfinder.
Yep.
There might be some other ones that exist out there, but definitely this is the best place to go to find everything. So we've got here, I'm going to move my mic a little bit so I can look over there. So I don't knock over my drink. Because that would really
I know,
bad.
we've already done that once tonight.
So you've got a ton of different character sheets. A ton of them that are all there to help with however you want your format to be. I don't care how you want your format. There's a way that will do it. Mm-hmm. You've got, I love this tool right here.
I think, hold on, talking about character sheets though, the one that we found that we love the most is dyslexic - character sheets.
Let's go down there.
And that one we find,
bam,
it is so incredible. The different things that they've done, and they've upgraded it. They work on this a lot. Mm-hmm. So when we first started building our characters, there was not a dual class system. So we found a different way to use we found
a
workaround for it. And we recently discovered that there is now
dual class. There's also a dungeon master option where you can put NPCs and everything, and list them out. But let's go into the character. All right, we are going to make let's say a halfling. Mm-hmm. All right, it's going to be a gutsy halfling. You get a pick, or I want to do.
What's a Twilight halfling?
Let's see. Twilight halfling, but I want to add advanced player's guide. Actually, I want to do a changeling halfling. Okay. Or even let's do a Dhampir halfling.
A Dhampir.
We got Daywalker halfling here. I want to make Blade if he was a halfling.
Oh my gosh. Right. Okay, that's hilarious.
So then you can pick your class, which I am going to pick.
This isn't an NPC that you're going to bring back later.
No, not. Right. I'm going to pick a fighter. And then from Advanced Player's Guide, it gives me some new options here. Improved knockdown, power attack, and brutish finisher. So we're going to take power attack there. Then you see here, multi-class. If you want to do the dual class variant system, it's right there. If you want free archetype, it's there. We're not going to pick either of those right now. Come in here. It says, hey, do you want to have instructions on how to build? It's awesome.
It's so cool. And he does, I'm seeing that now. There is a Patreon.
Yep.
There, if you want to donate to what he's doing. Like, this has been such an incredible help for us, because there's a lot of things that are in it that are built into the characters. So he's made it really reactive. When you choose a character, then on the character sheet, it automatically puts the things that you just get with that character. Like, for mine being a fighter, I just get attack of opportunity, and also being a paladin, I just get lay on hands.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it gives you all those. Like, it puts all those in nice, clear, easy to understand
language.
Typed up. You don't have to write it in.
Yeah.
You can put your character background. You want a sheet for tracking social relationships? Go ahead and have it. You want it to list out all of your skills. You want it to give you a cool picture of your stuff. You want to do it for Pathfinder Society. You can do that. We're going to say, okay, yeah, we want Pathfinder Society. And I'm going to go next. Pick your color. Pick your background. Pick your image. Pick a logo for it. Put a watermark on it. All of that's there. And it comes in English, Italian, and French.
Yeah, which is really cool.
So, great character sheet here. If you're looking to do it written, if you're looking to have a physical sheet there. Of course, if you're going digital and there's two options. One, if you're going on your computer, is Wanderer's Guide.
Oh yeah, that one's good.
Wanderer's Guide is awesome. And then if you're looking to go, on the other hand, mobile, you want to do this on your phone or tablet, then it is Path Builder. Let me see where's Path Builder out on here. You can't actually do it on the computer, but Path Builder 2E is your best one. It's got the dual class. It's got the archetypes. It tells you what you can and can't do, what you're supposed to do at each level. You click a button to say I rested, get back all your spells. It's got your spell tracker in it.
Yeah.
Everything's there.
It's really cool.
There's only one thing actually in it that I wish I had that's not in there.
What?
That is in the dyslexic character sheets.
What?
The places to write what are your verbal, somatic, and material components for your spells.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if you're wanting to actually role play it completely and I say these words, I make these hand signs, I have this component in as part of the casting the spell, there's not really a place for it in there. Whereas the dyslexia character sheets do have it.
Yeah, they do.
They've got pages and pages for you to print off for your spell book.
Yep, it's really cool.
So those are a bunch
That's
of them.
interesting with it being a digital thing.
There's just not space for it. They just don't have a place for you to put it in there.
It's okay. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Because I'm thinking space, like there's not enough space. Like I ran out of space, and I'm like, it's digital. How'd you run out of space?
Well, but also you're trying to fit it on a mobile device. They made it for mobile, so you can get to a place where the screen is too busy.
That's true. But how many people seriously do, like the actual gaming on their phone?
There's a lot of them.
On their phone?
What do you mean do the game on their phones?
No, like how you do it sometimes, where you've got your character sheet on your phone, and you're the only person I've known that does that.
There's actually quite a lot. The Path Builder gets talked about a lot in the community.
Builder, but I'm assuming
that's the mobile
most of
app.
them are doing it on like tablet, like a Google tablet or something.
It depends. I mean, it all depends on what you can afford to buy.
I just saying.
You just don't like phone screens.
I don't. I am not a fan.
So also here they've got a ton of different actual plays and channels for resources for both DM knowledge as well as listening to other people play. There's spell databases. I still don't know what waffle syrup is. Playing your homebrew campaign, time has passed, and the adventure. Okay, don't even know exactly what it is on that one. No Nats channel, which is a great one for information.
Pull up some of like the NPC builders and stuff that you've.
Well, I want to go back to the top because this one I love. Right here, this monster tool. This one, if you're wanting to make a custom monster in any way, this is the way to do it because it's got each of the sections for you to type in what are the stats, what are the spells, and then it puts it in the same format, same look and everything as you see actually in the Pathfinder rule books.
So it's like it's easy to read because we already are used to that look.
So that one, the scribe tool, I think you'd like this one. This one, again, you type out. Look, you type it out here. It puts it in the same format again. So if you're making your homebrewed rules or homebrewed stuff and you want it to look official, you fill it out here. And it'll make it look like it came straight out of the core rule book.
And you're like, yes, this is the core rule book. Why do you not question me?
The animal companion helper is helpful because a lot of people have a hard time with how do I build my animal companion. And then, here's this, of course, Archives of Nethys. If you are doing Pathfinder, Archive of Nethys is your friend. It is your Wikipedia. It is your database of knowledge. It is your one source of truth outside of the actual books themselves.
Your one source of truth?
Yes, that's a coding term.
You are so cute.
Yeah, in software development, a lot of times you want to keep all of your data in one place, so there's one source of truth that everyone's pulling from.
Yeah.
I haven't played with the automated downtime. This might be something important to look at, especially in different parts of our campaign if we're dealing with downtime between an actual adventure when you're like, okay, I've got a couple of days. What are you going to do during that time?
In the city for a hot minute?
Yeah. Generally, that's the days you do your shopping, you do your crafting, you do anything like that. This is supposed to help you with calculating your crafting, your earned income, your rune etching costs, all of it done automatically.
That's cool.
The last one here that I love, where'd it go?
I'm gonna move on to other stuff.
No. This encounter builder right here. So I built some encounters for us recently in our last couple of episodes. And we're a party of 2, dual class. So things run a little differently.
Yeah.
So I was feeling like things were being a little too simple.
Yep.
So I upped some DCs, some monster difficulty levels, and yeah.
Killed us twice.
If it wasn't for the fact that I had an NPC nearby who could heal, we would have been ending. Hey,
what?
No, we didn't happen twice, both of us.
You killed us twice. Yeah.
No, only once.
Are you sure?
Brutus healed us both. Healed you once. What other NPC healed you?
I don't know.
It was once. It was once.
Yeah. I came really close to unconscious though once. And you did too.
But this, yes. I died twice. I did. But this actually is an encounter. It lets you just put in what's the creature's level, what's your level, what's your party size, how many of those creatures are there, and then it will give you exactly what the XP would be for the combat, whether it's moderate, whether it's extreme. And because it doesn't actually, at first I was like, oh, I wish I had all the monsters in here already. But if it's got the monsters in there already, there's no room for homebrew.
Yeah.
Because this just asks you, what's the monster's level? How many of them are there? You can homebrew as many monsters as you want, and this will still be a great tool.
Yeah.
So, again, PF2 tools. Tools. Go there, spend time looking at all the different tools that are there. Use the ones that you want.
As a GM and both as a character, as a PC, but as a GM specifically, like these resources are like invaluable. They're so great. And
every GM's gonna want different stuff. Like I use for tracking my campaign and writing, I use World Anvil. You use pen and paper.
Hells yes, I use pen and paper.
Yeah.
That's because it's better. No,
Sure.
that's not true. I use a flow chart system online as well to keep track of my stuff. I want to flip it back to the other thing because I want to show what I'm doing right now.
Which, okay. We're going to flip back.
We are flipping back. Can you give me the small square for the testing on it?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I am building the peak of the roof. And they come, he has a template that you make this with. And it is a honeycomb kind of look. And so you build the template out and you attach them all, and they're really easy to paint and whatnot. And if you're interested in that, we did that in the last episode of Tabletop Terrain Talks. So you can go back on Twitch and watch the VOD, or you can go to our YouTube channel, which is Party of 2 RPG, and see that and kind of like how we made those and how we did the wood look on them. But once they are done, they start out like this, and then we cut. Oh, sorry, they start out like this, and then we cut them up. So I've cut it into little pieces, and now I need to...
Here, I'm going to put your hands on a little bigger screen.
Okay, cool. So now I'm going to be putting these in our little...
Grid system
to make sure that they are right on. So I put that in there. This is going to be the piece that sticks out and connects to all the other pieces that are in the peak. So I kind of measured it that way just to see, okay, where does it go up? And I kind of know now where I need to put the topper. So this is creating right here, this is creating rafters. Or not rafters, it's creating like those cool little jig things. Oh, I need to do the hand thing so that it stops trying to focus on other things. Stop it. Anyway, so I'm going to take some hot glue. And I'm just going to really quickly, hot glue this down onto the piece. Now, I didn't paint both sides because I knew that this side was going to be down into the wood that I had already created. So put the non-paint face down and then hot glue that in place. So then it creates kind of this triangled formation that looks like wood, and it's creating that faux arched pointy thing.
A pointy thing?
A pointy thing, you guys.
Does it come with pointy things?
It comes in paints. Okay, sorry. So then I have a small little piece that goes on top of that. That's like the piece of wood that kind of secures everything together. Like if you've ever seen like old-fashioned type like cabins and stuff, it's always those really big pieces of wood that sit over top that kind of hold it all together. So that's what this piece is right here that I have put on top. And I keep picking up my fingers in a really weird way. I'm sorry.
You should apologize.
I should. I totally should. So then we do that on both sides. And you get little stringies from the stinking hot glue gun.
And you go, which is required, right?
It is required to make the sound. Chicka, 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 chicka. No, not really. But the part that I think is really cool is I have a pen.
Do you have a pineapple?
I have a pen. I have an apple. Okay, you guys, our kids were obsessed with that song when it first came out, and they wanted to listen to it literally all the time. It was so obnoxious.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, so I'm going to put this second piece down, but I have this marker. It's not a pen, it's a marker. That is a silver metallic marker, and it is perfect for putting studs in these. It's Crafter Square from the Dollar Tree. Legit from the Dollar Tree. And I want you guys to see how incredible this is. So we're making this mic, man. Okay, so I'm gonna put I'm just gonna dot it, and it's gonna be amazing. That is if my marker works. Oh, this is gonna be really funny if my marker doesn't work.
Did it dry out?
Did it dry out? Hold on. I have two of them. One of them I've had for a hot minute, so that might have been the one that I've had for a really long time. Oh, that's better. Okay, so I'll pull this up to the camera really close, but you guys can see really quick. I'm making little studs in.
Well, hand behind it.
So
There
you
we
guys
are.
can see the
Yep,
little
we can see that.
that I've made with my little cheap $1 micro. And it's things like that. Like Weston, I did this the first time, and Weston was like, why do you even care? Nobody's going to see that. And for me, like, I get that. I get that mentality of like, you know, it's okay. Like, you don't have to make it perfect, but it adds something for me of this just extra thing that just makes it pop a little bit. And it's fun and exciting to have that and be like, hey, look, I created studs. Like, how amazing is that? Anyway, so I wanted to show that. It's kind of cool.
I think it is.
It makes me happy. And I'm going to throw away this other marker. 'Cause I think it's dead.
Yeah, if it's dead, don't keep it.
Nope. Anyway, so I use this, and this is going to be the foundational piece for creating the roof peak, which is really cool. And then I do have to paint the roof peak a little bit more, so I'm just going to be mass producing these ones right now. But this is the beginning of creating my roof peak. Is these two pieces right here.
Do you have a finished one?
Yeah, I do actually. Finished that one last week, I think.
Grab a finished one, show it off. And again, all this is very inexpensive. Again, it comes, if you've got time, then this is the way to go.
And you can see there's my little roof underneath. My little pieces underneath. So this is going to be the very top, the peak part of the roof. And I've created some rafters already that are going to be going down the sides, which are really cool. And I'm very excited to put the entire thing together. So I'm kind of anxious. And we go on vacation for like 4 days, so I can't really work on it until
you can't.
we get back. But it's fine. 'Tis life.
'Tis. Now tomorrow night we should be finishing some main story points in our campaign, in our actual play, and then we leave for a little while to go to Colorado.
Yep. It's going to be awesome and fun with our kids.
And the rest of the family.
And the rest of the family.
My family,
It's going
so
to be super fun.
yes.
It actually probably will be really fun.
the 7-hour drive with the children is going to
Maybe
be
not so much. That's
interesting.
Not gonna be as fun.
Some families out there, they're like, road trip, yeah. I'm like, oh.
Well, we have really rambunctious little boys, so like it's hard for them to be in the car for an hour, let alone 6.
Yeah, we had to drive for an hour the other day to go somewhere, and we had like, are we there yet? Are we there yet?
We only drove for 40 minutes, and after about 20 minutes, it was like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And I'm like, does it look like we are there yet?
Yeah, we're there. We just decided to keep driving just for the fun of it.
And I think that's a really funny question for a kid to ask, because it is true. It's like, if we were there, we would be there. We wouldn't be driving anymore.
You think we'd still be in this car?
But you can't reason with a 4-year-old.
No, you can't reason with an 8-year-old really either.
That is true.
At least not ours. So
that is true. Okay, so you had always told me that back in the day you had been interested in playing D&D and you never did.
I did once, serving a church mission. I had a what we call a companion, which is your partner that you work with, and he was a D&D huge fan, and so on our one free day a week that you get, we sat down and played some D&D for 2 different free days.
That's kind of fun.
And so it was fun. It was definitely fun. He knew all the rules, and he got a member of our local congregation to print off the sheets.
Oh, cool.
So we could make our characters. But we didn't have the book or anything.
He just knew.
Just pulled everything out of his
Holy
head.
cow. That's like Matt Mercer level brilliance.
Yeah, he was a super nerd.
Hey, you know what? Embrace the nerd. I think that's going to be my new slogan. Embrace the nerd.
Well, super nerd meaning he had like a superpower in nerddom is the way that I think of that.
You're hilarious.
The superpower in nerddom.
No, because my first exposure really to D&D, I think I had a couple of friends in high school that played it, but like I was so busy and like wrapped up in my own world of like having a boyfriend and being in theater and singing and going on tour and whatever that I didn't really pay attention. And then I was in college and I was at a performing arts academy in California and a bunch of my friends were playing Vampire the Masquerade.
Yes.
And I didn't...
Which I've never played.
I like was super intrigued by it and they told me, they were like, hey, you should come play with us. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know. And I made all these excuses because I was really nervous and I wasn't sure if I could play it. And so I never ended up playing. And I regret that to this day. Because I think I would have found my love for all of this kind of stuff then instead of waiting until my 30s.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, to give yourself a little credit... you had some things that most players of D&D in their youth didn't have. Friends, relationships with the opposite sex.
Yes, I had a very steady boyfriend.
Activities like that. I mean, most people who play, who are really into this when they're young, that don't have that.
Yeah.
So there's pluses and minuses there.
Somebody asked this question on Facebook recently, and it was, what would you tell your younger self in 4 words or less? And that was my thing that I would have told myself in 4 words or less, was embrace the nerd. Stop trying to be cool. Stop trying to be sexy. Stop trying to do all of the crazy stuff.
I don't think you should have stopped trying to be sexy.
Well, I
just wanted to bring that up.
Naturally am, babe.
As the man who married you. Don't think I would have wanted that one. Keep the sexy, but embrace the nerd. Be that sexy nerd.
Am I like totally red right now? Because I feel like
I'm a little bit.
Anyway, what was I saying? No, I meant like the things that took up my time, my mind time, were things that were not as important.
But you were a nerd in your own way.
Yeah.
You were specific.
I was a nerd about movies.
You were a nerd about movies, but you were a nerd about Harry Potter.
Yep.
And then when you got a little bit older,
Twilight.
Vampire, because it wasn't just Twilight. You were reading vampire books before Twilight.
Long before the Twilight.
You were reading Anne Rice.
Anne Rice and Laurel K. Hamilton and
so yeah, you were
some L.J. Smith, which those books were not as deep as like The Interview with Vampire and stuff.
Yeah.
I just totally lost the name of the author.
Anne Rice?
Anne Rice, thank you.
Yeah.
Those novels and stuff. So like I was really into anything like urban fantasy, witches, vampires, werewolves, genies.
So you see, you had your own type of nerddom. It just wasn't this type of nerddom, and you hadn't embraced it fully.
I had not embraced it to the extent of which I could embrace it.
Exactly.
No, you're right. It's true, but it's a thing. Like, I think that I have some younger colleagues that I work with, and I adore them. I really do adore the team that I work with. And I know that that's kind of like a crazy thing to say. Most people absolutely hate their jobs. And while I may not enjoy my job, I adore the people I work with. Mm-hmm. And when we talk, they're always so stressed out about, like, what am I going to do? And how am I going to handle my life? And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? Just do you. And don't try to live up to anybody else's expectations of who you are. Live up to your own expectations of who you are and let yourself frickin' figure it out. Because we live in a society that acts like we have to do everything by the age of 25. You have to finish your career, you like get into your career and finish your education and get married and like build a ridiculous business and have all of the things, and you have to do it all in your 20s. And like that's such a load of crock.
Yeah.
And like I see it in my young colleagues, my friends, that they feel this stress to get their lives figured out, and they're 22.
Well, and I mean, to take this into the realm of Pathfinder and into role playing, I mean, there's also this idea that, you know, do you know your character build? What's your character build? Have you decided how your character will go from level 1 till level 20?
Yeah.
And what feats you'll take all along the way?
Yeah.
But that's like,
No.
that takes
Like, we were
away from
watching
discovering your character.
Yeah, well, we were watching a video today that was helping kind of explain that whole, like, the character build. Like, how do you do the character build? And it really did feel like you need to know exactly where your character is going, and there's, like, you have to know everything about everything before you begin. Well, and that's really intimidating.
The one thing is, I mean, it is a role-playing game, and you can take that in a couple of different ways. But this game is not a min-max war game.
No, it's not.
This is not Warhammer.
No, and there's nothing wrong with Warhammer. Warhammer is.
What are you talking about? There's 100% wrong with Warhammer.
I'm gonna throw something at your face.
I don't know. I've actually never played Warhammer yet. We need to get your dad to play Warhammer with us.
My dad did Warhammer stuff for years.
But that's the thing is, it is a role-playing game, and I feel a lot of times the role play takes a back seat to min-maxing for, and there's nothing wrong with having an effective character in combat, an effective character in different things, but this is about role-playing.
Yeah.
If you just want to, okay, I can make the best combo, you might as well play Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, let's get in the middle. We're going to do a combat, and then we're going to take it away, and then we're going to do a combat, and then we're going to take it away, and then just finish him.
Yeah, well, we are a very role-play heavy game.
We are.
We are very role-play heavy, and part of it is because, I'm...
Background in acting.
I have a background in acting and in performance and stuff. For those of you that don't know, I got my degree in performance at the University of Utah, so, like, that's a huge part of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't just...
Turn that off.
It can't just be, and you go to bed. It's like... What would I do while I was going to bed? I think I would talk to my best friend who sleeps in the bunk right next to me, and we would chat about things that are, like, super serious, like the meaning of life. And, like, why are we in the Hell Knights? And, like, all that kind of stuff. So, we are definitely role players.
Or you got to debate the merits and issues of slavery in Cheliax.
Yep. That kind of stuff. That is the type of thing that you will experience if you watch our actual play.
Yes. Because we take it seriously. We take the role play seriously.
We do.
This is a story. It is a storytelling game. And if you are maximizing your combat, but not maximizing your story, I feel like you're missing something.
Yeah.
The most popular, role-playing show out there is Critical Role. And they do not shirk on the role play.
No, I think you and I were very surprised by that when we first started watching that. At first, it was like, could this person, certain individual or whatever, it's like, oh my gosh, they always run off and want to have a conversation with somebody about something at the end of the night. And I love Liam O'Brien. He's like my favorite. It surprised me, and at first I didn't get it, and now I do. And like I would always be if Liam is not there in those episodes, I feel a little let down. A little bit like, oh, Liam's not here tonight.
And that's,
fine.
Role play it all has to come together.
Yeah.
It has to come together like you do in any type of a performance. Because GMing is a performance art.
Yeah.
Role playing is a performance art.
Yeah.
You got to have your stage.
It's performance art that's total improv, which is weird. Mm-hmm. And for me, that was always so strange. I hated it because I'm used to performing after rehearsing for like sometimes months, because I would do opera, and opera is very complicated with all of the different facets that you're trying to get in, especially if you have a 100-piece orchestra and you're having to, like, it's a huge thing. So the first time we started really recording and whatnot, I got really nervous, like more nervous than I was when I would perform for a huge
audience.
theater.
Yep.
because this was so different. I didn't have the lines. I had to make it up.
Yep.
As I went along, and that was hard.
Well, you've got to, like I said, you've got to have the stage set. You've got to know your character. Mm-hmm. You've got to, have things as a GM. You've got to have everything set up to provide for this sandbox for everyone to play in.
Yeah, and that's honestly pretty freaking intimidating too.
It is.
I mean, I think that's more intimidating than being the player, is knowing that your characters, your people,
are depending on you
to know where things are and what's going on. And some professional DMs that I've watched, I am in just such awe of their ability.
Yeah.
It's just like, it blows me away.
To manage all the rules, all the difficulties, know all of their players' abilities better than their players do in some way.
Most of the time they do.
And be managing this whole story and world while it's going on.
And knowing, and if you play kind of like, since we were talking about Critical Role, how they do. Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't talk about role-playing games these days without talking about Critical Role.
I know. But Matt has events that are happening in other areas of the world that are happening in tandem with what's happening to the characters. So if they miss leaving somewhere, they miss this entire thing that's happening over here. And I, as a GM myself and building my own world, I'm like, holy crap, how do you do that? It's like...
Well, and one way that it does, I know that they do it in Pathfinder in some of the adventure paths, is that what you do is that event, it needs to happen. And so you say it will happen in 1d4 days, 1d20 days, and then you roll the dice, and it tells you when it happens.
Oh.
So good example.
Cool.
Good example. The hearing in our campaign, there is an open floor for the Hell Knights to bring forth issues that need to have the council to judge them. I rolled a D4 behind the DM screen to see how many days it was, and it came up 3. That's why it was 3 days till the council.
Okay.
It could have been 4. It could have been the next day.
Oh geez. Okay.
Which would have made things very interesting.
It would have made things really interesting. That would have been really frustrating. And
really
annoying.
hectic. Yeah, it could 2 days probably would have worked. You could have done 2 because you had 1 free day pretty much there. But I rolled the dice, and that's one thing. That's one thing you can do when you're planning as a DM. You're like, okay, I know this event needs to happen. How many days forward should I have? Pull out your dice. Let the dice decide.
Well, and then it's like trying to figure out the aftermath if that thing doesn't happen.
Like, you mean if your players aren't there for that thing?
Yeah, for that thing to happen, and then you have to figure out the aftermath. It's like that was like a massive part of the story in Critical Role in Campaign 2 is that they missed an event that happened, and so then they had to go into enemy territory.
But it's also don't pigeonhole yourself too much.
What are you doing? Put that back up.
I'm playing with my sleeve.
Okay.
So don't do that too much because just, you can always have a player that just doesn't do what you planned. And then all of a sudden, if you planned that far ahead, it was just all wasted.
Yeah.
So again, I say have your major events that are happening in the world.
Yeah.
And then leave the rest of it.
Okay.
And then if the players aren't going over there, figure out your repercussion on how it'll affect them. But that's the only thing you need to plan from that then.
Okay.
You don't need to do anything else because then you only planned what was needed. You didn't plan a bunch of stuff that wasn't.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, and I mean, because we've talked about this too, is that when you've been building your stuff so far, we've been in one set location, and I had minimal things that I could choose to do.
Yes.
Because of the situations that were being presented and created because of what we're doing. And now when I'm taking over, it's full on everything.
That's why you just decide one direction, and then Being a GM.
Explain to our lovely viewers what we're doing so that it explains what I just said.
So we're doing a form of tag team GMing where I have written and I've been GMing the first arc of our story, taking up about 9 episodes. And then when my story arc ends, my character will then become technically the go from a DMPC or an NPC to a PC. And I will become the player in the same story and same campaign that's been running. And then
I will be the DM.
You will be the
GM.
GM. You'll be responsible for where the story goes from there until you finish the arc that you've planned. Mm-hmm. With my character, me being the player and kind of taking over as the lead decision maker.
Yeah. So the way we do it is that the DMPC, we kind of take a step back from making major decisions and we leave that up to the other character, which makes it very interesting because we're doing that so that there's no metagaming happening.
Yeah.
Because you as the GM, if you know what happens if you go down that road, then you can't be the one to decide whether or not you go down that road.
Yeah, GMing PCing is a whole topic for another night.
It's really hard.
It is a whole topic for another night, much longer than we have of this.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of, it's been an hour and 20 minutes.
It's 9:20.
And we have got to still pack and get ready to go to Colorado on Wednesdays.
Yep. So please join us tomorrow night for the conclusion of my arc.
Yep, the conclusion of Weston's arc, and then we'll be taking a week off. We'll talk about that then. But every Monday night we're going to be doing tabletop terrain talks unless something major happens and we're unable to. But we are here and it's fun. So
please share, follow.
Yes, please follow. We're working to get to affiliate with Twitch, so please follow.
Please follow. Please refer to your friends. We will be starting to post these VOD on YouTube.
And the YouTubes are also going to have all the links for the different things that we've talked about. We'll put a link up for the PF2.tools. We have a link for the Game Gear Master stuff, and where you can purchase all of those. Templates and whatnot. We're also gonna have like any of our socials that you can follow us and
all that jazz.
Whatever. So all of the links, anything that we talk about in these episodes, will be in the description box of the YouTube.
But please follow. Please share.
Subscribe on YouTube. Follow on Twitch. Share the love.
All around.
Anyway.
And just remember, it only takes 2.
Good night, you guys.